What's up, guys? It's your boy, the Dark Kage here, and today me and Crimson Burn Flame are gonna be doing What If Deku had a Fire and Lightning Quirk. Go ahead and say hello, Crimson. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sorry. Yeah, so where we last left off, Izuku had just finished the hero exams for not the heroes. He just finished hero versus villains test. And he was successful in that test, growing the respect of Todoroki and Bakugo, respectively. It's been about a week since this happened, and has eventually, All Might and Aizawa have both told the class that they're going to be going to the USJ, and All Might said that he will be attending with them, which Aizawa told everybody to get their hero costumes on. Yeah, and they would say, for the most part, Zuko, he may be a bit quiet at times, but he's overall a pretty nice person overall. Hmm, that's kind of sad, he would say. Yeah, well, everyone would say, well, it's a very impressive quirk. Yeah, yeah. So basically, they would then arrive at the USJ and would talk to the rescue hero 13, and they would and eventually Hiroshima would say, "So you guys even brought in fake villains for us to fight?" Which everybody would then get confused, then seeing heroes on the lower floor. Oh man! And this is when they would then look. This is when they would then look down to see, see they would see the villain. They would see all the villains on the ground. These are mafia members and overall bad people and villains with quirks. He would say. Yeah. So this is when Izuku would then say, "All right." This is when Izuku would then put on his mask, saying, "Fly." This is when he would then burst into the sky using jet propulsion in his feet to make him fly with his fire quirk, as he would then strike down lightning through his tips with his lightning quirk, taking out a lot of the lower villains, electrocuting them to the point to where they would get knocked out, but not killing them at all. Deadly. Yeah. So basically, so that's kind of painful. But anyway, so as usual, Bakugo and Kirishima would both far as try to attack Kodagiri, but he would just send them off into their little space. Which this time, when Izuku actually he just flies over to help Mineta and Suyu, he actually just electrocutes the water to other people with the water quirks or water themed quirks. So you would say, I have a frog quirk, and Mineta says that he could take these balls off his head and he can stick them to the opponent. No, no. Anyway, what is it Mineta would respond by? And this is when Izuku would say, then I'll strike them down with electricity. Because when you have a water themed quirk, it's irrelevant to a person with a lightning quirk due to the voltage in the lightning. Yeah, and then when y'all do that, this is when I will continue to fight the more villains and helping out everybody else, Izuku would say. One, two, three. Anyway, but yeah, but this is when this is when Suyu would then hop across on the little, on Mineta's balls. And this is when they would then arrive off of the ship and back to land. And Izuku, he would then jump into water. He then basically turning his body into like pure electricity, not really injuring him that much though, surprisingly. Yeah, but he would basically shock them all into passing out. Uh, This is when they would all then eventually still be hiding in Naoto's getting, beat up badly by the gnome. Which this time when Izuku strikes, and so like this time when Izuku strikes, um, try to strike Shigaraki, he actually landed because he actually outsped the Nomu surprisingly. And when the smoke clears, everyone sees Izuku as pure electricity with a fire ring around him. Actually, two fire rings around him, around his body. So he basically looks like a human atom in a way. Yeah, this is when he says his power. It's something I've never felt before. Izuku would say. Now this is when he would then rush at the Nomu, trading blows with him. Izuku eventually beginning to electrify the Nomu deeply. And then this is when he would then begin to make a fire spear around the Nomu. And like basically he then brings it closer to the Nomu, telling the Nomu, and with the Nomu then like destroying the fire ring around him, grabbing Izuku by the face, and he would then begin to slam him, or at least attempt to. Izuku would vanish, striking lightning in his chest, and would go ham on him, at least until All Might comes. So yeah, so this is when All Might says, "All right, young Midoriya, I'll take it from here." Hmm. As a hero, I shouldn't do such thing, but good idea, All Might would say. So this is when All Might would then rush. This time, since Izuku had already wore down the Nomu to a good amount, it would be easier for All Might to defeat the Nobu, sending the Nobu literally into space, which is a fate worse than death when you don't have a helmet. Which every Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, so this is when Issei. I was about to say Issei. This is when Midori he would basically be looked at as a hero by everybody else, along with All Might. Go ahead. What is it? It says, yeah, this is when Izuku says, "I'm doing that because I shouldn't. You're the number one hero. We're gonna need you way more. You can pass on the quirk to me once I finish high school and become a pro hero." He says. Yeah, so this is when let's time skip to the next day. Izuku is in what is also with Recovery Girl, and they're in her office, like her actual medical clinic. And this is when Izuku would then begin to make fire appear in his hands, but it would then form like not as a ball, but like literally like into his hands, like the fire power into his hand. And this is when he would begin to rub it together and basically perform a good old scene from one of my favorite movies, which he would then literally strike All Might right in the abdomen with the fire, which at first All Might yells like a little baby, which slowly the pain begins to go down as All Might begins to see his injury heal surprisingly, and also surprising Recovery Girl because she's never seen something like this before. Seeing that, this is when Recovery Girl would ask how he was able to heal All Might, and Izuku begins to explain that fire is life itself. You can bring life within fire. You can heal within fire. He would say. Yeah, yeah. So this is when eventually Izuku would get back in school, and All Might will once again be at his full strength that he was 10 years ago before he got the injury. Yeah. So this is when Ida would then begin to say that young Benor, you must always come to school and be prepared for any work, any assignment that the teacher will have us do. That isn't in, and this is when Ida would then shut his mouth after that. Yeah, he would say, just giving Izuku the pencil, which is when this is when Aizawa would then walk into the room, telling them that, all right, guys, it's time for us to get ready for the sports festival. Well, with the rate of villains coming around being much larger than then, I think it's time for us to finally have a sports festival again because we need new heroes more than ever. Who? Anyway, so this is when as they're walking out, Class 1B and C tells them that just because they fought real villains doesn't mean that they're better than everybody else. Izuku was about to say something, but then Bakugo came in, saying what Bakugo would say. Cause yeah. So that doesn't. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So as Crimson was basically saying, yeah. So this is when Izuku would then say, yeah. So Izuku would then later on in the day, Izuku would then begin to just look in the sky and think that he hasn't really been able to access that lightning form that he was able to access during the USJ, and he wonders more about it. And even Azawa and Alma had both asked him that before, which they then said, well, yeah, that's kind of weird. But maybe it's that you're in a dire situation and you needed to be at your absolute full power, he would say. Yeah, Alma and Azawa would say that could be the case. Maybe it was just a spark of luck, basically. But anyway, so we time skip like 2 days later, and the sports festival has begun, and the first round has begun. The race. So just as normal, Todoroki would then freeze the ground, and then once he freezes the ground, Izuku, he simply just burn it with his fire. As he then began to blitz past Bakugo. So as Todoroki already had a head start, and he destroys the zero pointer that's right in his way by using a fire kick. As this is when he would then jump over another. He would then literally jump over. He would jump on top of the head of one zero pointer, and then he would then use jet propulsion, getting a boost using his fire. But but anyway, but yeah. So this is when once he used jet propulsion, he begins to literally fly in the air and mellow with the crowd all growing wild, basically. But yeah. Um. Anyway, so this is when Izuku would then still win a race and get to 10 million points, and the cavalry battle would go just as the same. Because there's not really a need for a change. Besides, Izuku is keeping the 10 million points due to him literally just using jet proportion and keeping everybody in the air. And anytime anybody got near them, he would literally just electrocute them temporarily. He would temporarily electrocute them. He would no more. He would just shock them. He would literally like shake their hand and shock them temporarily. And this is when so yeah, after the cavalry battle, this is when it's not the tournament part of the it's not a tournament part of the sports festival where Izuku's first opponent is Shinzo. Now Izuku, this time he doesn't speak in this battle. He simply just blitzes Shinzo and knocks him out of the arena. So after that, all every other round goes the same as it's now. Todoroki versus Izuku. Todoroki would then shoot he would then shoot lightning. I said lightning. Todoroki would then shoot fire at Izuku. No, I'm a lie. Todoroki would shoot ice at Izuku, which this is when Izuku would then he would throw back fire, bursting the ice because Izuku's fire is much hotter than Todoroki's. But yeah, okay. So where Izuku's fighting Todoroki now in the tournament. Todoroki says, "That's not my quirk. That's his." Todoroki would then stop. Todoroki would then stop to think for a second and rethink his life. But he would then, and show me your. I was gonna say inner flame, but that works too. Yeah, so this is when everything. This is when Aizawa and All Might would then both notice that Izuku could kind of use the power he used at the USJ, but but he split it between his body, which is a difference. But yeah, Nani. Oh, okay. But yeah, so this is when the two would then rush at each other. Now, lightning stronger. Lightning can easily break ice, so Izuku would obviously win. So that's all we gotta say. There's not even a debate with that. Oh yeah, by the way, Izuku's fire is much hotter than Todoroki's. By the way, this is when he would then pass out and recover, and he would just for the rest until it was his turn again. He would just be sleeping in the recovery girl's office, which All Might would still tell him that he's proud of him for beating Shoto Todoroki. Yeah, that is a good idea. That is a pretty good idea. But anyway, that is a pretty good idea. So So back to the main plot of the story, Izuku would now be facing Bakugo because every other battle would have went the same. As Bakugo would tell Izuku to show him his true fire, you can say. Anyways, this is I was literally gonna say was gonna make a joke about that. As far as when you after you done that, and I was gonna say that yeah, that's a trash pun. But anyway, but this is when Izuku says I would only need to use half of my power for this, using his fire, only using his fire quirk. Yeah, so this is when Izuku would then say, now, before we start this battle, I want to show you a dragon roar. As this is when he would roar fire out of his hands and mouth, nearly burning President Mike's hair. Hello? Hello. Alright, anyway, guys. But yeah, President Mike would simply just dodge, saying, ooh, that was a close one, or my golden locks would have been messed up. But anyway, never, Mike would say. But yeah, President Mike would say. But anyway, so this is when Izuku would simply then say. He would then rush forward along with Bakugo doing the same. Izuku once again using jet propulsion to burst himself forward, and Bakugo using explosions to burst himself forward. This is when he says, "This is for." This is when they would then say, "This their goals obviously, and they're ahead. This is for my friends." Izuku would say. Bakugo says, "This is for myself." As this is when they would then clash with each other, destroying the entire arena. Because, in a way, Bakugo kind of has a fire quirk in a way, but not really at all. It's like just it's kind of like that though. He basically, when you think about it, when you think about it, Bakugo is just Sparky, Sparky, boom, man. Yeah, because he's basically Sparky, Sparky, boom, man. Can you can you imagine that he's literally hitting people with that? That's a villain quirk. Oh yeah, and how much layers of clothes he really should be wearing. Yeah, but anyway, so we all know who came out of it. Honestly, I think Bakugo could have honestly beat Izuku in this fight when you think about it, just looking at the stats. Yeah, so I'm gonna instead of let's honestly, I'm gonna give Bakugo the W in this fight. Let's give him the W. So yeah, Bakugo actually still wins, but Izuku does still goes in second place, which All Might says that he told both he's All Might says that he's proud of Tokuyami, Izuku, and Bakugo. But yeah, so guys, so this is gonna be the end of part two, and we're gonna start. So we're gonna and then this is the end of season two, and in the next episode we're gonna finish off season two of MHA, and then go on to season three, and you know, etc. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and you'll be seeing me on either Crimson's channel or mine again. So see ya.